Okay, good morning, guys. I
Good
hope
morning,
you're
ma'am.
fine.
Good morning, ma'am.
Great. I'll just take a quick attendance and then we'll start with the class. Okay, Alan is here.
Here, ma'am.
Kyla,
Here, ma'am.
Kezia,
Here, ma'am.
Sophie,
Present.
TJ,
Here, ma'am.
James,
Here,
Yumeka,
Here, ma'am.
Samuel,
Here, ma'am.
Brian,
Here, ma'am.
Karen,
Here.
Bolian, Evan,
Here, ma'am.
Aliza,
Here, ma'am.
Luna,
Here, ma'am.
Yukai,
Here, ma'am.
Liviana,
Here, ma'am.
Kimura,
Here, ma'am.
Shehan.
Here, ma'am.
Okay, everyone is present today. Great. So guys, we already started unit 3 and we have completed few topics in unit 3, right? So what all we have completed, I'll just go through it. We did the introduction part of unit 3. We did the dates of unit 3, which date is important. Plus we did continuity, what is continuity and importance of continuity in history. And then we did decline of Roman Empire. Plus we did the feudal system, the system of society in the Middle Ages. So can anybody tell me what is continuity? Yes, James?
It's when something in history continues on for the past future. I mean, for the next future.
Okay, great. Now, can anybody tell me what is Dark Ages? Aliza, can you tell me what is Dark Ages?
Okay. Dark ages, maybe like the time when it wasn't like when disaster struck and there was chaos everywhere and it wasn't a very happy time.
No, Aliza. Yes, Sophie.
The time marking the aftermath of the Roman decline.
Yes, the Western Roman decline era was known as Dark Ages. So just going through it, Roman Empire was divided into two halves because Rome was a big country and it was very unable, people were unable to control it. So it was divided into two halves. The first half was the Western Roman Empire and the second was the Eastern Roman Empire. But the Western Roman Empire could not survive for long and it declined because of the invading part happening in Western Roman Empire, and thus that era was known as Dark Ages. And Eastern Roman Empire flourished as the Byzantine Empire with the capital Constantinople. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Now, we also studied the division of society. So the society was divided into how many parts?
4 parts, ma'am. 3.
Wait. 4 parts.
Yeah.
It was divided into 4
4.
parts. The first part was?
Lord.
The peasants or the serfs.
The peasants or serfs.
Yes. The second?
Knights or military figures.
Yes. And above the knights were?
The lords.
Yes. The lords
like
or
lords.
religious leaders. And above all of them were?
Monarchs.
Emperor.
The emperor or the king. Great. Now, I think you all remember everything. So now let's switch on to our next topic, that is life in Britain. So what happened in the life of Britain? So Romans left Britain or England in the 5th century, and the 5th century starts from 400 CE to 499 CE. CE is Common Era. Now, when Romans left Britain in the 5th century, then Britain was invaded by multiple groups. Now, there were multiple groups who were invading Britain. Some of the famous groups I'll be talking about. The first group was the Anglo-Saxon groups. These Anglo-Saxon groups were made up of Angles and Saxon, and they belonged from Germany, Denmark, and Holland. The next group was the Vikings group, who were from Scandinavia, and they invaded Britain in the 9th century. The 9th century is from 800 to 899 CE. The last group that invaded England and stayed for a longer time was the Normans group. Now, the Normans group's king was King William the Conqueror. He was one of the strongest kings, and they won England in the Battle of Hastings in 1066 CE. After William the Conqueror won England or Britain, then he initiated a survey. That survey was recorded in a book which was known as the Domesday Book. Now, what was this survey? This survey was basically, he wanted to know better about, or you can say he wanted to get a better idea about the land he is controlling. So he asked his men to initiate a survey, and in that survey, they recorded the population of the country, the wealth of the country, and the land that is being used by the people in the country. Later on, this record or this Domesday Book became very helpful and an important source for the historians who were studying history, because it played as a compiled book of census which was used to measure the makeup of a country. Now, also in this particular time, King William made the Battle of Hastings as a memorable memory through making it on portraying it on a tapestry. Now, what is a tapestry? Tapestry is a heavy cloth that has designs or pictures woven into it. And this tapestry was 70 meters long. So if you can Google it, and if you can research it, you can research for the tapestry and you can find the length of the tapestry and the entire battle that was recorded in the tapestry through different designs and pictures. You can see it. Now, as we were talking about life in England, and we already know that Romans had divided the society into 4 different halves, which was later on followed in the entire world. Now let's see, was it followed in England also? So now, what was the life in England? I have divided it into 4 sections. The first is the introduction section. The second is the punishment section. The third is the life of people. And the fourth is the society. Life of people and society can be merged in one, and we can just say that there are 3 main points. So life in England was mostly agricultural. People used to farm a lot. Plus, there was very slow transport system. So people used to either walk from one place to another, or they used to use horses to go from one place to another. Plus, the Romans already built the roads, but the roads were not of good quality. And that's the reason why there was waterlogging and the road was full of mud whenever it rained or had a bad weather. So we can say that there was a lack of mobility in the Middle Ages in England. So people considered boats as a better option to travel from one place to another. So till here it is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
That's great.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, as we already know that the society was divided into 4 different halves. So here also, lords were considered very important after the king. And they were one of the most dominating members of the village, because they used to collect tax and also they used to pass the laws. So they were considered as one of the important member, you can say, or dominating member, you can say, in the village. Plus, lords lived in huge castles, and no one was allowed to enter the castles until and unless the lords called them. Now, of course, when they are collecting taxes and people are paying taxes and they're passing laws, that means that if somebody breaks the laws or is not paying tax, that means that they will be punished. So what were the punishments? As I spoke to you earlier in this unit, that people were orthodox in the Middle Ages. So the punishments were also very orthodox. They were very harsh. They were often physical torture, or it can be physical humiliation or normal humiliation. The punishments were very bizarre. When I say bizarre, it means that if a person is accused that he has stolen something, the punishment was that he has to walk on fire. And if the wounds get cured faster, that means that that person is innocent. But if the wounds does not cure faster, that means that that person is not innocent and he was punished. Now, again, one more bizarre punishment, if I say, was that they used to take out the nails from your finger. So they used a special tool, held the nails, and just scratched it out from your finger. Plus, they used to tie you on the trees and hit you till the time you don't die through bleeding. So the punishments were very bizarre. And that's the reason why these punishments were known as, later on, trial by ordeal. Now, when I say trial by ordeal, please take out your notebooks and write the definition. Trial by ordeal. It was a process of putting someone on trial for an alleged crime. By testing them with an ordeal that was often brutal. I'll repeat it. It was a process of putting someone on trial for an alleged crime by testing them with an ordeal that was often brutal. Now, ordeal means painful or horrific. If anybody does not know the meaning, ordeal means painful or horrific. After this, later on, a jury board was made, and then trials used to go for any of the accusation that was made. But it was very later. And before that, people had suffered a lot of ordeal. Now, our third point is the society. So in the society, men were considered very powerful and women were considered as subservient. When I say subservient, it means they were prepared to obey others or they had less importance than others. So men had too much power as compared to women. Women had very few rights. They were not allowed to choose their husband, and their only work was to help their husband in the field and take care of the children. That's it. Now, can anybody tell me which was the first country which allowed the women to vote first? Any guesses?
The US, maybe.
No, it's not the US.
The UK.
No, not the UK. Yes, teacher?
Germany.
No. It was New Zealand. In 1893, New Zealand passed the law that women can vote and became the first country. And later on, it was done by other countries also. Now, back to the topic of society. As I told you earlier also that people were orthodox in Middle Ages, so religion played a very important role. Churches, popes, they played a very influential role in the country or in the city or in the village. So any law that was passed by the king was first shown to the churches or the popes, and then they sealed it yes, then only it was passed to the citizens. Plus, pilgrimage was considered very important in this particular era. So till here it is clear, everyone?
Yes,
Anyone
Yes.
any doubts or
Yes, ma'am.
questions?
No,
No
ma'am.
doubts.
No doubts? Okay. Then
Not
let's,
now.
great, George. So now let's open our textbook to page number 64. Everyone to 64, and people who don't have
Okay.
textbooks, I have already I have already uploaded it on the GC. So please open to page number 64, and I would request you all to read from page number 64 till 66. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me right now.
Okay, ma'am.
Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions
ma'am.
from
Yes,
anyone?
ma'am.
No doubts.
No question.
Not yet.
No questions, ma'am.
No question for now.
Great. So can you all see an activity on page number 66 with 2 questions?
Yes, ma'am.
That is your homework.
Yes.
And
Okay.
page number 64, can you see the discuss?
Yes.
That we'll be doing right now in the classroom.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. So let's start. Plus the students who have not submitted their homeworks, previous homeworks, please submit it to me by today. And tomorrow we will
Okay, ma'am.
continue with one of the diseases that hit England, the Black Death. And we'll see more reasons why we say that the people in Middle Ages were orthodox. Now, please take out your notebooks and start doing page number 64, discuss. And if you have any doubts in the questions, please feel free to ask me. What happened, Sophie? Do you have any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay, guys, the lesson is over. Please finish your work and submit it to me by tomorrow before the IH lesson so that I can check it. Yes? And people who have not submitted their previous work, please submit it by today. Yes, Sophie?
Ma'am, when the Normans invaded England in 1066 CE, were they fighting against the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings, or just the Vikings? Did they fight against them as a group?
Yes, they fought against the Vikings and the massive groups also.
So they fought both Anglo-Saxons and Vikings?
The Vikings and the massive group, not the Anglo-Saxons.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, guys, so please submit your homework and have a nice day, and I'll see you all tomorrow, guys.
Okay, ma'am. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, guys. Have a nice day.
ma'am.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, everyone.